by biological teacher KGBV Kotnanduru. Today you discuss about chapter 4 excretion. Already we have learned 1, 2, 3 lessons. The fourth chapter is excretion. What is excretion? It is a biological process involved in separation and removal of wastes from body. What is excretion? It is a biological process involved in separation and removal of wastes from the body. Living beings need energy for their survival and to perform activities, either building up of body material, anabolism, or its breakdown, catabolism, collectively called metabolic activities. Organisms use different substances for metabolic activities. Different products are generated as a result of these metabolic activities. Can you name different products generated by the following life process? In photosynthesis, you get oxygen, glucose, water. In respiration, we get carbon dioxide. As well as in digestion, we get glucose as the end product. We have already learned that different kinds of materials are produced out of various metabolic activities. Some of these may be harmful, or the organisms are removed from their body or packed and stored in some other forms. These are all the wastes produced in the body of an organism. You have already discussed how organisms get rid of gases, wastes generated during photosynthesis or respiration. Other metabolic activities generate nitrogenous wastes have to be removed along with salts, excess water, and several other materials. Excretion is the term coined for all the biological process involved in separation and removal of wastes or non-useful products from the body. In Latin, ex means out, crenere means shipped. Now let us study how to excretion takes place in human. Let's discuss about excretion in human beings. A number of reactions take place during various metabolic activities. Many useful substances and energy are produced. At the same time, many other things happen, such as toxic wastes may be produced. Water content may increase. Ionic balance in the body may be disturbed. The waste products include carbon dioxide, water, nitrogenous components like ammonia, urea, uric acid, bile pigments, excess salts, etc. The most poisonous of all waste products of metabolism is ammonia. What is the most poisonous all waste products in metabolism? It is ammonia. We can see blood analysis and urine analysis on the screen. In the table, there is readings and the range that should be normal. Excretory system in human being. In human beings, excretory mainly occur through a urinary or excretory system consists of a pair of kidneys, a pair of ureters, urinary bladder, and urethra. Yes. Now let us observe external and internal features of a kidney in goat or sheep, which is similar to human kidney in function. Now let's discuss about lab activity. The main aim of this lab activity, the external and internal features of a kidney. Materials required: freshly collected specimen of a sheep, goat kidney from the bachelor or 3D model of kidney, sharp blade, scalpel, tray, and a jug of water. To study the internal structure, we have to collect the fresh specimen of a goat kidney. Why goat kidney? Because it is easily available and it is similar to human being. First we need to clean the kidney with glass of water to remove the excess blood. Put the kidney in the tray and observe it. You can clearly see the outer part of the kidney. We observe the external part of the kidney. First thing is shape. It is bean shaped. What shape? It is bean shaped. The color of the kidney is reddish brown. What is the color of the kidney? The color of the kidney is reddish brown. You can see there is two tubes attached to it. With the help of sharp blade, take the longitudinal section of the kidney and observe internal structure. After cutting the kidney, you can observe the inner structure of the kidney. Even if it is the goat kidney, it looks exactly same as the human kidney. Now let's summarize the lab activity. What is the shape of kidney? The shape of kidneys are bean shape. What shape? Bean shape. What is the color of kidney? Color of kidney is reddish brown. What is the shape of the each kidney? Each kidney is convex on the outer side and concave on the inner side. Each kidney is convex on the outer side and concave on the inner side. Do you find any attachment on upper portion of kidney? Yes. Adrenal glands are attached to kidneys on upper portion. Is the internal structure similar to figure? Yes. It is similar to internal structure of figure. Now we completed lab activity. Let us discuss about kidneys and their functions. In human beings, there is a pair of bean-shaped reddish brown structures in the abdominal cavity attached to dorsal body wall, one on either side of the backbone. They are kidneys. The right kidney is placed slightly lower than the left kidney. The size of the kidney is 10 centimeters in length, 5 to 6 centimeters in breadth, and 4 centimeters in thickness. Each kidney is convex on the outer side and concave on the inner side. The position of the right kidney is lower than the left kidney due to the presence of liver above. Let us recall the last question in your lab activity. The inner side of each kidney has a pressure of hilus for the entire entry of the renal artery, exit of a renal vein and or ureter. Renal artery brings oxygenated blood located with waste products and renal vein carries deoxygenated blood. The waste product generated in the various organs of the body are filtered and removed by the kidneys. Which is the carry the oxygenated blood? The renal arteries bring oxygenated blood. Now we can see the excretory system video.
Product in man is urea. Kidney is a bean-shaped, red-colored organ. Kidneys are attached to the dorsal body wall on either side of vertebral column in the abdominal cavity. Each kidney of an adult human measures 10 to 12 centimeter in length, 5 to 7 centimeter in width, 2 to 3 centimeters in thickness, with an average weight of 120 to 170 grams. Its outer margin is convex and inner margin is concave. The notch present on the inner margin is concave. The notch present on the inner margin is called hilus. Renal artery, which brings blood to the kidney from heart, enters the kidney through hilus. Renal vein, which carries blood from the kidney to the heart, and ureter come out of the kidney through hilus. Each ureter is a thin-walled tube. The anterior end of ureter is wide and is called renal pelvis. The ureter opens into urinary bladder. Urine is stored in the bladder till it is filled and then is sent out through a canal called urethra. On top of each kidney, an adrenal gland is present. It is endocrine gland and has nothing to do with excretion. Longitudinal section of kidney. Outer region of kidney is deep red in color and is called as cortex. The inner region is light red in color and is called as medulla. In the medulla are 9 to 12 inverted pyramid-like structures with a broad base towards the cortex and narrow end towards the pelvis. These extend into pelvis. The broad end of each pyramid is branched and gives the appearance of sepals of a flower. Hence, these are called calyces. Through calyces, urine reaches funnel like ducts, and from these into pelvis. From pelvis, urine enters ureters. The cortex extends in between the medullary pyramids as renal columns called columns of Bertini. Each kidney consists of several thousands of nephrons, which are the basic structural and functional units. They are responsible for urine formation. In human kidney, there are about 2 lakh of nephrons. Each nephron has 2 parts. 1. Cup-like structure called Bowman's capsule, and 2. Tubular portion. Figure 19.3. Bowman's capsule is a 2-layered cup with space in between the 2 layers. Inside the cup of Bowman's capsule, there is a network of large number of capillaries, which is called glomerulus. Glomerulus, along with Bowman's capsule, is called Malpighian body or renal capsule. After entering the kidney, the renal artery divides into a number of arterioles in the kidney. Each renal arteriole enters a Bowman's capsule as afferent arteriole, forms a capillary network inside the cup-like structure, and leaves the Bowman's capsule as afferent arteriole. The tubular part of nephron has 3 parts. A. Proximal convoluted tubule. B. Distal convoluted tubule. C. Distal convoluted tubule of nephrons opens into collecting tubule. A. Proximal convoluted tubule. The tubule continues further to form a highly network called proximal convoluted tubule. A hairpin-shaped Henle's loop is the next part of the tubule, which has descending and ascending limb. B. Distal convoluted tubule. The ascending limb continues as another highly coiled tubular region called distal convoluted tubule. C. Collecting duct. The distal collecting tubule of many nephrons open into straight tube called collecting duct, many of which converge and open into renal pelvis through medullary pyramids in the calyx. The Malpighian corpuscle, proximal collecting tubule, and distal collecting tubule of the nephron are situated in the cortical region of the kidney, whereas the loop of Henle dips into the medulla. In majority of nephrons, the loop of Henle is too short and extends only very little into the medulla. Such nephrons are called cortical nephrons. In some of the nephrons, the loop of Henle is very long and runs deep into the medulla. These nephrons are called as juxtamedullary nephrons. The efferent arterially emerging from glomerulus forms a fine capillary network around the renal tubule called peritubular capillaries. A minute vessel of this network runs parallel to the Henle's loop, forming a U-shaped vasa recta. Vasa recta is absent or highly reduced in cortical nephrons.
Internal structure of the kidney. Let us observe LS of the kidney to know more about internal structure. Dark color outer zone called the cortex and pale inner zone called medulla. Each kidney is made up of approximately more than 1 million microscopic and thin tubular functional units called nephrons or uriniferous tubules. Structure of nephron. Each nephron has basically two parts. One is Malpighian body and second one is renal tubule. First one is Malpighian body. Malpighian body, it consists of a blind cup-shaped border end of nephron called Bowman's capsule and branch of fine blood capillaries called glomerulus. The Bowman's capsules and glomerulus together called Malpighian capsule or renal capsule. Glomerulus develops from a efferent arteriole. It gives rise to an efferent arteriole. Because of the narrower outlet efferent arteriole, pressure exceeds in the glomerulus. It functions as a filtration unit. Bowman's capsule, which accommodates one glomerulus, it lined by a single layer of squamous epithelial cells called podocyte cells. What cells? Podocyte cells. There are fine pores between podocyte cells to allow pass of material filter out of glomerulus. Next one is renal tubule. It has three parts. First are proximal convoluted tubule PCT, loop of Henle, which is U-shaped. The loop of Henle is U-shaped. Second are distal convoluted tubule DCT. Distal convoluted tubules open into a collected tube. Collecting tube, the ureter. All the parts of the renal tubule are covered by a network of peritubular capillaries formed from the efferent arteriole. The peritubular capillaries join to form renal venule, which joins the other venules of form finally the renal vein. Let you see the video, the structure of nephron.
Convoluted tubule, a loop of Henle, a distal convoluted tubule that leads to a collecting duct. Nephrons are convoluted in the cortex region and straighten out as loops in the medulla region. Each nephron has a Bowman's capsule, which is a cup-shaped structure that has a layer made of squamous epithelial cells. In the cavity of the Bowman's capsule, there is a bundle of capillaries known as the glomerulus. The blood vessel entering the Bowman's capsule is known as the efferent arteriole and is thicker than the blood vessel exiting the capsule, which is thinner and is known as the efferent arteriole. The Bowman's capsule and the glomerulus together form the Malpighian body. This capsule extends into the proximal convoluted tubule (PCT) on the inner side. This tubule is lined by a brush-bordered epithelium with numerous microvilli. This PCT leads into the loop of Henle, which lies in the medulla region. It is U-shaped and has a descending limb and an ascending limb. This further leads into the distal convoluted tubule, which is again seen in the cortex region, and it finally joins the collecting duct. As blood flows through the glomerulus, water, salts, and waste diffuse into the Bowman's capsule. This liquid then passes into the PCT and the loop of Henle, where water and important salts are absorbed back into the blood vessel. Only the waste material like urea and some water molecules proceed into the DCT, where more water may get absorbed into the interstitial fluid. This liquid formed is the urine, which is released into the collecting duct. This finally trickles through the kidney into the ureter, which helps the passage of urine into the urinary bladder. After a while, the urine can be excreted from the bladder. To summarize, the excretory system in human beings consists of a pair of kidneys. The longitudinal section of kidney shows two prominent regions, a cortex and a medulla. Inside the kidney, we observed numerous nephrons. Each nephron has a Bowman's capsule, a proximal convoluted tubule, a loop of Henle, a distal convoluted tubule that leads to a collecting duct. In the cavity of the Bowman's capsule, there is a bundle of capillaries known as the glomerulus. As blood flows through the glomerulus, water, salts, and waste diffuse into the Bowman's capsule. This liquid then passes into the PCT and the loop of Henle, where water and important salts are absorbed back into the blood vessel. Only the waste material like urea and some water molecules proceed into the DCT, where more water may get absorbed into the interstitial fluid. The liquid remaining in the DCT is the urine, which is finally released into the collecting duct.
Let's discuss about mechanism of urine formation. Mechanism of urine formation. Formation of urine involves 4 stages. One is glomerular filtration. Second one is tubular reabsorption. Third one is tubular secretion. Fourth, formation of hypertonic urine. How many stages are there? There are 4 stages. One is glomerulus filtration, second one is tubular reabsorption, third one is tubular secretion, fourth one is formation of hypertonic urine. First one is glomerular filtration. Blood flows from renal artery to glomerulus through efferent arteriole of glomerular filtration in nephron. Second one, tubular reabsorption. The primary urine passes into proximal convoluted tubule. Useful substances like glucose, amino acids, sodium chloride, potassium ion, bicarbonate ion, water are reabsorbed into peritubular network. Third one is tubular secretion. After reabsorption is proximal convoluted region, the urine travels through the loop of Henry into distal convoluted tubule. Here some other wastes like extra salts, ions of K, Na, Cl- and H plus secreted from peritubular capillaries into distal convoluted tubule, which are surrounded by peritubular network. Fourth one is concentration of urine. 70% of water content of the nephric filtrate is reabsorbed into the region of proximal convoluted tubule, and 10% of water passes out of filtered through osmosis in the area of loop of Henry. Concentration of urine takes place in the area of collecting tubules in the presence of hormone called vasopressin. The hormone is secreted only when concentrated urine is to be passes out.
Glomerular filtration. Kidneys are bean-shaped organs which filters blood. It removes waste substances from the blood and regulates water and electrolyte concentrations within the body fluids. The end product of this function is urine, which is excreted outside of the body through urethra, containing wastes, excess water, and excess electrolytes. Urine formation involves glomerular filtration, tubular reabsorption, and tubular secretion. The nephron is kidney's functional unit. At the beginning of the nephron, the glomerulus is a network, tuft of capillaries that performs the first step of filtering the blood. The glomerulus is encased in thin, double-walled capsules called Bowman's capsule. The space inside the capsule and surrounding the glomerulus is called Bowman's space. As the blood travels through these capillaries of glomerulus, filtration causes a lot of plasma contents to spill out into Bowman's space through the glomerular filtration membrane. It consists of 3 layers of capillary valve: endothelium, basement membrane, and epithelial podocytes. This membrane allows some particles of blood to pass through, but not all. The fluid that is filtrate from the capillary blood into Bowman's space is called filtrate and forms the primary urine.
Ureters. There are a pair of whitish, narrow, discernible and muscular tubes of 30 cm length. Each ureter arises for the ileus of the kidney. It moves downward and obliquely opens into the urinary bladder. Ureter carries urine from the kidney to the urinary bladder. The movement of urine in the ureter is through the peristalsis. Urinary bladder. It is median, pear-shaped and distensible sac that occurs in the pelvic part of the abdomen. It stores urine brought by two ureters. The storage capacity of urinary bladder is 300 to 800 milliliters. Urethra. It is a tube that takes urine from a urinary bladder to outside. The opening of urinary bladder into urethra is graduated by a ring of muscles or sphincters. Urethra is 4 centimeters long in females and about 20 centimeters long in males, called vestibule. Its opening is separate in females, but it is common with the reproductive tract in males. Next one is macturation. The urine is temporarily stored into the bladder. There are two sets of circular sphincter muscles in the bladder. When the bladder is filling up, both these sets of muscles are constricted, so the exit is closed. However, as the pressure of the urine increases, the walls of the bladder are stretched, and this triggers off an automatic reflex action which causes the upper sphincter to relax, but the lower sphincter is under the control of brain. So urine can still be retained until this muscle is relaxed too. Control of urination is not possessed by very young children but is gradually learned. Urge of malnutrition occurs when the urinary bladder is filled with 300 to 400 milliliters of urine. The stretched bladder stimulates nerve ending to develop the reflex. However, urine can be retained into the urinary bladder till it gets filled up to the maximum capacity of 700 to 800 milliliters. At this time, the urge becomes painful and leads to voluntary malnutrition. Total amount of urine excreted per day is about 1.6 to 1.8 liters. Its quality increases with the large intake of fluids like water, fruit juices, and decrease with lesser intake. Let's discuss about composition of urine. It is a transparent fluid produced by urinary system. Urine has amber color due to presence of urochrome. Composition of normal urine varies considerably depending on several factors. For instance, taking a protein rich diet will result in more formation of urea in the urine. This is because the proteins get deaminated into the liver with subsequent formation of urea. Even sugar can appear in a normal person after a heavy intake if other conditions are constant. A large intake of liquids or water rich of food increase the volume of water in the blood. Hence, more urine is excreted. Urine contains 96% of water, 2.5% of organic substance like urea, uric acid, creatinine, water soluble vitamins, hormones, and oxalates, etc. And 1.5% of inorganic solutes like sodium, chloride, phosphate, sulfate, magnesium, calcium, iodine. It is acidic. pH is 6.0 in the beginning but becomes alkaline on standing due to decomposition of urea to form ammonia. Completed the irreversible kidney failure is called end stage renal disease, ESRD. If kidneys stop working completely, our body is filled with extra water and waste products. This condition is called uremia. Our hands or feet may swell. You feel tired and weak because your body needs clean blood to function properly. Is there any solution to this problem? Let us know about artificial kidney. Let's discuss about composition of urine. It is a transparent fluid produced by urinary system. Urine has amber color due to presence of urochrome. Composition of normal urine varies considerably depending on several factors. For instance, taking a protein rich diet will result in more formation of urea in the urine. This is because the proteins get deaminated into the liver with subsequent formation of urea. Even sugar can appear in a normal person after a heavy intake. If other conditions are constant, a large intake of liquids or water rich of food increase the volume of water in the blood. Hence, more urine is excreted. Urine contains 96% of water, 2.5% of organic substance like urea, uric acid, creatinine, water soluble vitamins, hormones, and oxalates, etc. And 1.5% of inorganic solutes like sodium, chloride, phosphate, sulfate, magnesium, calcium, iodine. It is acidic. pH is 6.0 in the beginning but becomes alkaline on standing due to decomposition of urea to form ammonia. Completed the irreversible kidney failure is called end stage renal disease, ESRD. If kidneys stop working completely, our body is filled with extra water and waste products. This condition is called uremia. Our hands or feet may swell. You feel tired and weak because your body needs clean blood to function properly. Is there any solution to this problem? Let us know about artificial kidney. Dialysis. Kidneys are vital organs for survival. Several factors like infections, injury, very high blood pressure, very high blood sugar, or restricted blood flow to the kidneys. This leads to accumulation of poisonous wastes in the body and leads to death. Dialysis machine is used to filter the blood of a person when both kidneys are damaged. The process is called hemodialysis. This process is called hemodialysis. In this process, blood is taken out from the main artery mixed with an anti-conjugated such as heparin. What is the substance? The substance is heparin mixed with an anti-conjugated such as heparin and then pumped into the apparatus called dialyzer. In this apparatus, blood flows through channels or tubes. The tubes are embedded in the dialyzing fluid. The membrane separates the blood flowing inside the tube and dialyzing fluid. Dialysis, which has the same composition as that of plasma, except of nitrogenous wastes. As nitrogenous wastes are absent in dialyzing fluid, the substances from the blood move out of freely, thereby cleaning the blood out its wastes. This process is called dialysis. This is similar to function of the kidney but is different of there is no reabsorption evolved. The cleaned blood is pumped back to the body through a vein after adding anti-conjugated heparin. Each dialysis section lasts for 3 to 6 hours. This method has been used for thousands of uremic kidney failure patients all over the world. Children, what is the dialysis? The chemical path used in dialysis to draw toxins out of blood stream and supply electrolytes and other chemicals to the bloodstream. What is the dialysis? The chemical path used in dialysis to draw toxins out of bloodstream and supply electrolytes and other chemicals to the bloodstream.
Products, excess fluids, and electrolytes such as sodium and potassium are removed from the body in the form of urine. In the case of kidney disease, the loss of kidney function results in the increased accumulation of excess waste, toxins, or fluid in the body, thereby causing other complications such as hypertension, heart failure, pulmonary edema, metabolic acidosis, and hyperkalemia. Dialysis is performed in the following situations. 1. Acute kidney failure, or 2. To remove drugs or poisons from the body. Dialysis could be of two types. 1. Hemodialysis. 2. Peritoneal dialysis. Hemodialysis. This is done with the aid of a dialyzer, which is a machine present outside the body, which removes the toxic substances from the blood. A vascular access site is created by first numbing the area with local anesthesia and creating an arteriovenous graft by connecting one of the arteries with a vein with the help of a plastic tube, or an arteriovenous fistula by directly connecting one of the arteries with a vein. Once the graft or fistula has healed, hemodialysis could be performed for the patient. At the start of the process, 2 needles are inserted into the fistula or graft, allowing a circuit to be set up with the dialyzer. Blood flows out of the body into the dialyzer, which consists of filtering fibers that remove waste products and excess fluid from the blood, and a dialysate which acts as an absorbent solution for undesirable substances in the blood. Blood purified in this manner is returned to the body through the tubing into the second needle at the access site. When the hemodialysis session is complete, the needles and tubing are removed and the patient is allowed to return home. Peritoneal dialysis is done using the peritoneal lining of the abdomen without the external removal of blood from the body. A soft catheter is first inserted into the abdomen, near the belly button, creating a port through which the dialysate can enter or leave the abdomen. Each session of the peritoneal dialysis is known as an exchange. The abdominal cavity is first filled with the dialysate, using the catheter for a period of time determined by the doctor. Through the peritoneal membrane, waste products and excess fluid are continuously drawn out of the blood into the dialysate, which ultimately drains into a disposable collection bag during the exchange.
All about today's lesson. Today we will learn excretory system, structure of kidneys, formation of urine, dialysis. Today's assignment is draw the neat diagram of excretory system.